Okay, so this is a big one. I've just come off, a couple of hours ago, I came off a video call for participants in the course that I'm running, which is about leveling up, right? It's about making something massive happen, whether it's personally or in business or whatever. Today we did a Q&A, so every month we do a Q&A, and a kind of a theme that was emerging, whether stated or or kind of implied in the question, is about how to make something happen. So what I've written in the description for this this video is that if you do the how, if you try and figure out the how too early for a big dream or a big goal, or anything that's of a big scale, if you try and figure out the how too early, you run a very high risk of killing the dream early on. So when you're in school, let's say, if you're in junior high school, or you're 12 years old or whatever, and you're in school and you're trying to figure out, well, how do I become a rocket scientist, or how do I run a company, or how do I do whatever these things are, you don't actually know when you're 12. You just know that you want to do it. And so you're not kind of encumbered and trapped by trying to do the how too early, because you don't have this super analytical mind with all these, with like 20 or 30 years of belief systems and emotions and, perceived failures behind you. You don't have that to contend with, but you do have that to contend with when you're in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s, because you've lived a lot more and you've made what you think might be mistakes, and you've had successes and you've had setbacks, etc. So what people tend to do is they try to figure out the how, consciously or unconsciously. They try and figure out the how at the same time that they're figuring out the what and the why. So the what and the why is, what do I want and why is it important to me? Why do I want it? So what this video is about is to explain why approaching it that way is a huge problem and what to do instead. Okay, so if, let's say you're in employment and you want to run a big company, or let's say you're in a big company and you want to run a global not-for-profit, or let's say you're in a global not-for-profit and you want to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, or let's say you've already got a company and you want to scale it from 1 million to 100 million, or let's say you're 18 years old and you dream of creating the next startup to clean up the oceans or the environment, or whatever it might be. The chances are that you don't actually know how to do that yet. So that's why people talk about visionaries. So a visionary will not concern themselves with how are they going to make the vision happen yet. Like, they will along the way, but they won't do it too early, because because the vision is coming from their heart. They just have to do it. So the key thing to know, I think one of the biggest takeaways if you're watching this, or if you're going to watch it, is that how is a function of your abilities. So, and I know you might have a team and you go, well, it's a function of their abilities too. You go, cool, but you've put the team together. Okay, so the how is a function of your abilities. So if you're thinking of doing something big, right, it's most important to allow the what and the why to be fully formed before you do the how. So if how is a function of your abilities, and it is, then what are those abilities? Well, those abilities include your ability to your level of thinking, how you think, your ability to do something, so it could be skill set, your ability to believe in something, so it's your belief system, and your emotions, your ability to control or not your emotions, and a whole bunch of other things. There'll be your abilities to execute certain techniques, to learn new ones, to strategize. Okay, so how you do something is a function of your abilities. The abilities that you have today are not the abilities that you're going to have in 2 years' time, or 5 years' time, or 10 years' time. And so therefore, let's assume that your abilities are going to increase and improve, and you're going to evolve. You're going to become a better thinker. Your belief systems are going to be stronger. They're going to be better and more effective. Your emotions are going to be more under control. You're going to be less concerned with certain things in the future that might bother you now. So if you said, if there's something that you really want to make happen, okay, and if you're holding back because you feel, I don't have confidence, I don't have the know-how, I don't have the team, I don't have whatever it is, park all that stuff and declare it anyway, because the point is that you can acquire all that stuff along the journey. But there's something very profound about this as well, which is so the game is evolution. That's the game we're all in, right? It's evolving into the best versions of ourselves, right? Just trying to ever increasing levels of kind of, waking up or whatever, okay? So the more awake you are, the more aware you are, basically. So if it's about that, but you don't get to do that without something to drive you towards it. And so if you know in your heart and soul that there's something you want to create, then that very something is going to produce challenges, but those challenges are the exact challenges that you need to have to evolve. And so if you do the how too early, you deprive yourself of that goal and all the associated challenges and all the associated evolution. So that's one of the main reasons why doing the how too early is a bad idea. So if you try and do the how, it's at the level of thinking you're at now, the level of doing and beliefs and emotions and techniques that you're at now. Okay? And if you set a goal that you know I can achieve because I'm operating at this level, and so the goal matches that, well then there's not much space to grow. But if you set a goal that's a fair way beyond that, then you've got something to grow into. So as you grow, your abilities grow, and as your abilities grow, your probability of hitting your goal grows. So the lowest probability you're ever going to have of hitting your goal is the day you set it. Okay, so the improbability only gets better. And especially if it's a goal that's inspiring to you, that heartens you, that makes you excited, that enthuses you, that inspires you, you're going to grow in the right direction for you. So doing it too early kills the dream. Put the dream out there, trust, have faith that you're going to acquire the abilities, which you will, and there's a much better probability that it's going to happen. So that's pretty much it for that. I would say just on the team bit, the who, very often when I'm looking at how to do something, so what most people do is to look at how can I do it. You just look at how can it get done, how can it be done, and very often the right who will give you the how. So that's another thing, that you'll have access to the right who, the right people as you go further on your journey, and you won't need to do it yourself. You won't need to do it all yourself. So the right who will give you the how anyway. So that alone saves a lot of trouble, and your ability to figure out the how will become better with every passing day from the day you set the goal. So go for it and talk soon.